Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Oswald, and welcome back to another edition of Let's Draw EarthBound. Thank you for joining us, and today what we're going to be looking at is the Ramblin' Evil Mushroom and Strutting Evil Mushroom, the red and the green one from EarthBound. There's actually a red Strutting Evil Mushroom as well that a lot of people don't know about, but same thing basically as this one here, so let's get started. Alright, let's look at what we want to do to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to use another one of these guideline squares here. And you'll notice with this video here I've also started this in a kind of grayish color because I think this will help us a little bit to give us an idea of where our lighter pencil lines and all that sort of thing are. So we'd start with a, if you're doing this in pencil, you can start off with this light kind of square here divided into 4. And let's do what we often have done before and kind of start making a circle, but we're only going to do the top half of the circle. So we can start at the top here and continue down here, sort of like so. So that's our half of the circle there, and continue over here with another half of the circle over here. Well, this whole half of the circle, quarter of the circles, I mean. Alright, so that's the top of the mushroom kind of thing. So let's draw a little line here, not quite, I'd say about a quarter of the way down. This part of the line here, from here to here, about a quarter of the way. And let's round the edge there a little bit. Around the edge here a little bit, and then more or less bring a gentle curve over to that line there. I mean, even if you drew a straight line, it doesn't look bad actually, but a little bit of a gentle curve over to where we rounded that edge there. Now the stem of the mushroom is more or less going to come down from about this part here, and we start a little bit smaller and it's going to come to bigger down here, so it's going to kind of taper as it goes downwards, so ever so slightly, something like that, and we bring it down to about the bottom, well really to the bottom of that square. And since the guy has 2 legs when we draw him from the side running, we'll give him a little bit of a butt here, and around that over there, just a little bit past the bottom of the square, and we'll give him a leg that comes up right over here. And we could take a look to guide us a little bit. If we divided this down part way here, his knee is going to come up and going to be, starting to bend right around this part where it's, the halfway point right there that we had drawn down. The crook of his knee is going to kind of come up right about at that part as well and start, shifting directions. We bring his leg down a little bit below the square, and we make his foot here with the end of the foot more or less parallel with the bottom of the square as well. Give him a little bit of a heel on the edge of his foot here, on the back of his foot, and bring those together. I like to do it with a little bit of a gentle curve. It looks nice and cartoony. Alright, so basically the same kind of thing with his other leg. We bring down this line here to give us a little bit of a guide halfway between, this part of the square. So if we divided this small square here into 4 or whatever, or into 2, that's about the halfway point. Our knee is going to be somewhere around here. So let's extend this leg out here. And these angles don't have to be quite perfect either, but you do what you can. And so the knee is about at that part there. And again, we bring it up just a little bit above the line here, and we have within the square pretty much parallel with the square itself, and coming out a little bit outside the square, I'd say. And a little bit here. Oh, we have the heel. I suppose we could do it the same kind of way that we did before. So basically that's our body shape for the mushroom. That's fairly quick and easy to do. We have our spots on the mushroom. There's one that's kind of down here, I suppose, somewhere. I think there's another one up here or something somewhere. There's another one that's kind of partway on to the cap of the mushroom. There's another one that's over here, and there's another one that's a little bit, around the center, but to the side a little bit of the center. Alright, so that's essentially our body shape for the mushroom, and of course, like I say, you could have drawn all this stuff in with a light pencil, your outline especially of the box here, that we did. A little bit darker maybe for the outline of the body, so we can follow that well. And then you could take a pen, if you were doing this, just on pencil and paper. You could take a pen and ink what I'm going to do essentially now. So let's use a darker color for this now. I'm actually doing this on a separate layer now on the computer, but I mean, you could do this like I say, with pencil and paper and all that at home. So let's bring a line down here. Oops. Hey, oops, and I erased twice. Ah, it's okay. We bring that over here. One more time. There we go. Much better. And same kind of thing over here. Very good. And that curve around the bottom here. Perfect. And then bring that here, a little bit of a curve for the butt kind of area. And actually what we're going to do here a little bit is something just a little bit different, and we're going to bring a line that comes a little bit over where the body part here connects to the leg. And we want to show basically by doing that the leg is actually closer to us than the body, because it's extending out more towards the viewer or whatever. Let's continue the bottom of his leg here and right down to his foot. Same kind of thing with this side here. Just like that. And let's give him a little foot here with that a little bit of a rounded bottom here. And the heel as well. Going to round the front of his foot a little bit more as well. And essentially from here we can start our coloring. We have a good idea of where these circles for the spots on him are going to be. So we're going to do the kind of reddish, pinkish kind of mushroom, so it's a little bit of a pinky kind of color as well. So let's get started on that. And again, I'm doing that on a separate layer. You guys at home, if you're doing this, you could do this, you know, well, I could show you a little bit, I suppose. We could just color around where we're going to color in the lighter spots here. So, you know, do something like this, color around that if you're doing this with coloring pencils or with markers or something. You know, leave those spaces open. And you'll have a little bit more accuracy at home too, I'm sure, because I'm trying to do this a little bit quicker maybe, as well as instruct you at the same time of how to do it. So, you know, I'm going to do it a little bit sloppy, but, you know, that's fine. You guys can take your time with this as much as you like, and if you're trying it with a mouse or something like that, I know some people have said, you know, wow, I can't do that with a mouse, that's crazy. You know, it's a skill that you acquire over time if you're wanting to draw stuff with a mouse. But, you know, some people, you know, have a little bit of trouble with it at first, but you get it eventually, you really do. So, I'm filling in his body part now here with kind of a, I don't know, it's a bit of a yellowish kind of beige color, I suppose. Alright, so his other foot here, continue over his leg, perfect. And now we're going to do a little bit of shading. So let's take a bit of a pink, let's pull it down just a little bit towards purple, and make it a little bit darker, and that will give us kind of a purple, something like that. And again, we're going to have a light source coming in from over this direction kind of thing. And, you know, put it somewhere like this on the mushroom. We're going to fill in those spots in a moment, and I'll show you why. That we've waited a little bit for them. Okay, and next we're going to do those spots, and on the mushroom here, it's actually a little bit of a gray color, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a gray tone here, and fill in those spots. Alright, but you'll notice that this spot here is kind of in our shaded area, so let's bring its darkness down just a little bit like that, and something like that. So as well, the bottom of this spot here is shaded a little bit, so let's shade that one in as well. For his body, we had a kind of yellowish beige, I said, so let's bring that just a little bit down towards red a little bit, and make it a little darker, so something like this. Maybe, let's see how that works. Maybe even a bit darker because it'll show up better on YouTube. There, that looks alright. So we have kind of like the shade from the cap itself that's, you know, putting onto the rest of the body. And we have the bottom of the leg here, the foot, and as well the bottom of this leg here. So that's basically how we do that one. And you can do a little bit different for the green version of him. Let's pull up, there we go. So this guy here, kind of a dusty kind of green, a little bit of a bluish green, and a little bit of a pink body, as well as the kind of a purple for the shade here. That's about all the time we have for this one. That was the Ramblin' Evil Mushroom. I'm Oswald, and that was Let's Draw Earthbound. Join us next time for some more Earthboundy drawings.